If you are watching this, you are witnessing the most costly miscalculation of Donald Trump's time in office. And this time, he cannot cheat his way out, cannot intimidate his way out, and certainly cannot litigate his way out. Because as of today, the rules governing the skies have shifted. For 7 decades, the United States has relied on one straightforward assumption: the airspace above Canada was open territory. American airlines, cargo planes, and military transports routinely traversed the Canadian North to reach Europe, Asia, and beyond. They treated Canadian sovereignty like it was optional. They assumed it would always be accessible. They assumed Canada would never enforce the boundaries. Donald Trump built his entire 2026 agenda on that assumption. He believed he could pressure Canada on trade, impose tariffs on steel, aluminum, and lumber, and Ottawa would simply absorb it. He assumed Mark Carney was just another polite official who would yield under pressure. He was wrong. Today, Mark Carney did not just resist. He examined the map, analyzed global logistics, and triggered the most impactful lever in recent geopolitical memory. Canada has officially overhauled its overflight fees and restricted polar route access for nations engaging in hostile trade practices. In plain terms, if Trump wants to continue a trade conflict with Canada, American planes no longer get the shortcut. And the consequences are immediate and severe. Billions of dollars are evaporating from the airline sector in real time. The logistical chaos will delay Amazon packages, double flight costs, and put your investments under pressure. This is the story of how geography fought back, how a composed, calculated Canadian leader ensnared a reactive American president in a trap he never anticipated. And most critically, why everyday life is about to become pricier because Donald Trump ignored the fine print. So, what just happened? Let's remove the distractions. At 8 a.m. Eastern, Transport Canada released a notice to air missions. Not a press event, not a dramatic speech. A routine bureaucratic notice be embedded in that paper was a bombshell. Effective immediately, the preferential overflight privileges previously granted to us carriers under old agreements are suspended pending a sovereignty review. To most, it reads like dry legalese, but to the CEOs of Delta, United, and FedEx, it's catastrophic. Here's the geography Trump overlooked. Flying from New York to Tokyo is a straight shot. Jets go north, over the Arctic, across Canada. That's the only way to optimize fuel, time, and cost. By suspending these rights, Carney is forcing his aircraft to detour south, navigating the long way around Canada. This adds hours, thousands of gallons of jet fuel, and requires refueling stops in places like Anchorage or Hawaii, converting direct flights into layovers. Crew hours expire, schedules collapse. Analysts estimate the cost to the aviation industry could reach $4 billion per week. $4 billion? This isn't a trade dispute, it's an economic blockade. And the brilliance of it is that Trump is powerless. He cannot deploy the military to force Canada to open its skies. That's an act of war. He cannot sue in his courts. Canada is sovereign. He's utterly trapped. Panic is already visible. American Airlines stock plummets. Apps and FedEx issue urgent guidance alerts. The era of effortless American global dominance is over, at least for as long as Trump continues picking fights with Canada. Why now? Why did Carney wait for this moment? Because he gave Trump time. For months, Mark Carney played the diplomat, visiting Washington, proposing reasonable solutions for the softwood lumber dispute, suggesting modernized border processes. What was his reward? Insults, erratic and social media threats, a president claiming on stage in Ohio that Canada was cheating the US and he would make them pay. Trump thought he was negotiating with the old Canada, the apologetic Canada, the compliant Canada. Mark Carney is not that Canada. Carney is a central banker, a strategist who understands leverage like no other. He knows you don't confront a bully by shouting. You confront them by recalibrating the cost-benefit equation. Trump wanted Canadian products to become more expensive for Americans. Carney made the world more expensive for Americans. And the most humiliating reality for the White House, there is no counterplay. In Canadian flights. Go ahead. Air Canada can still reach Europe or Asia without passing through the US. Canada is the roof of the world. The US is the living room. You can leave the house without crossing the living room, but you cannot reach the backyard efficiently without going through the roof. Geometry favors Carney. Trump is exposed. And this brings us to Trump himself. The man we see today is a version we rarely witness, frightened. Typically, when Trump is hit, he retaliates immediate telesanctions, firings, distractions. But this morning, silence. Sources inside the West Wing describe the mood as apocalyptic. Staff are scrambling, digging up 1950s treaties for loopholes, yelling at lawyers, calling the U.S. ambassador in Ottawa, demanding a fix. But there is no fix. This is policy, not mistake, and it lays bare the central lie of Trump's presidency, that America can go it alone, that allies are optional, that mistreating partners won't have consequences. Canada slammed the door, and Trump's fingers are stuck in it. Why should you care? Even if you don't fly to Tokyo, this affects you. Longer routes for FedEx planes mean more fuel, and guess who pays? You! Shipping surcharges on online orders rise. Delta cancels flights that aren't profitable without Canadian airspace, reducing available seats. Who pays? You! Your summer vacation just became 40% costlier. Slower supply chains delay Asian imports. Factories slow. Shifter cut. Donald Trump's incompetence is now a line item in your budget. And it didn't need to happen. Canada didn't seek this fight. Carney didn't wake up wanting to ground us aviation. He wants trade, flow, prosperity, but also has a duty to protect his country. When a foreign leader threatens your economy with illegal tariffs, you respond. Carney is teaching Trump physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Trump pushed on trade. Carney pushed on gravity, and gravity is winning. Let's examine the receipts. Anchorage bottleneck. Alaska, meant to be strategic, is overwhelmed. As cargo jets that once flew over the Yukon now funnel through narrow corridors to avoid fees. Air traffic controllers report gridlock. Fuel trucks run dry. It's a sky parking lot, and every minute planes sit on the tarmac. Money burns. Asian market, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese carriers still fly over Canada efficiently, paying normal rates, meaning a Korean airline can now serve New York faster and cheaper than an American one. Carney just handed foreign competitors us market share. Diplomatic cables. Leaks reveal a tense call between the US Secretary of State and Canada's foreign minister. The US side reportedly shouting, Canada's side firm but courteous, citing environmental concerns and carbon pricing. Bureaucratic language executing a devastating geopolitical strike. Not hatred of Trump, but a focus on sustainability with the side effect of grounding us advantage. Carney versus Trump. Picture Carney in Ottawa, spreadsheet open, not panicking, not ranting, just adjusting numbers. Trump performs for the camera, Carney works the system. Trump wants clips, Carney wants results. And the result? The US is effectively blocked from the Northern Hemisphere's most critical transit corridors. What does this signal for the future? This isn't just about aviation. It's water, electricity, oil. Canada supplies immense energy to the US grid, crude for refineries. If airspace can be weaponized, what about pipelines? Trump spent 2 years threatening to close borders but never considered Canada restricting resource flows. The US is a consumption nation, reliant on Canadian supply. No backup plan exists. Only concepts and tweets, but no infrastructure to replace the Canadian link. That's why this moment is perilous. A cornered Trump is dangerous. Next 24 hours, scenario A. Trump caves. Hates it, bruising ego, but airline CEO Calhoun drop tariffs, apologize, admit Carney won. Rational, but Trump isn't rational. Scenario B. Escalation. Bins Canadian Airlines. Chaos ensues, families grounded, business travel halts, North America effectively severed. Who suffers more? Us $330 million versus Canada's $30 million. Escalation triggers a recession. Not next year, next week. Scenario C. Secret deal. Trump sends a proxy Elon Musk, family member to Ottawa, quietly negotiating. Publicly claims victory, privately concedes. Most likely outcome. Damage is done. Illusion shattered. The world sees a vulnerability. Mark Carney provides a blueprint. Europe, China, Mexico are watching. The America First bully has a glass jaw, and Canada just struck. Human cost. Imagine HR. JFK families sleeping on floors, boards red with cancellations, confusion, anger. Now imagine the White House, same energy. The chaos Trump creates in governance now hits airport terminals. You voted for America first. Did you expect America grounded? A strongman president. Did you imagine 1 week to keep flight paths open? This is the reality of populist isolationism. It sounds good on a stage, on a sticker, but hits the complex machinery of the global economy. It breaks systems. Your freedom to travel is one of them. Irony, Trump wants walls, borders. Canada built a wall airspace. Feasting now Trump sees walls trap the insider as much as the outsider. America is trapped in a conflict we didn't need, started by a president ignoring briefings, finished by a prime minister who read every line of the contract. Carney didn't shout. He enforced rules. That is the terrifying part for Trump. This is not a revolution. It is foreclosure. Canada is foreclosing on American entitlement. As the day unfolds, the spin machine will engage. Fox News may blame woke Canadian policies, a Green New Deal, a tax on freedom. Don't buy it. This is about business contracts and the reality that treating your main trading partner as an enemy comes with consequences. The bill has arrived. While Trump scrambles for a credit card, Carney waits, calm, collected, letting payment clear. This is a defining moment for the continent. Power dynamics shifted. For a century, Washington barked, Ottawa jumped. Today, Washington barked, Ottawa handed an invoice. Prepare for what comes next. If unresolved in 48 hours, grocery stores, gas pumps, jobs all affected. This is not a drill. A trade war is turning into a Cold War in the upper atmosphere, and Canada holds the high ground literally. Ask yourself as the stock ticker turns red and flights cancel, who can fix this? The men who broke the system over his feelings, or the men who understands it well enough to shut it down with a single notice? Trump faces his biggest disaster, and we are along for the ride. Skies closed, costs rising, president offline. Welcome to the new North America. Carney's world now. We are just navigating it.